Today's episode is brought to you by Schecter Guitar Research, the original custom shop. You probably know Schecter for their hard rock and metal guitars, and they're killer, but they also have a wide range of classic-inspired guitars with modern updates, too. And speaking of classic-inspired guitars, Chris became a Telecaster fan after seeing Pete Townsend playing a Schecter PT model back in the 80s. Now he's a lifelong Tele guy. Use the promo code TalkGuitars15 to save 15% on your purchase from SchecterGuitars.com. Check out Schecter Guitar Research if you're looking for something classic, metal, or otherwise. We'd like to thank our sponsor, iZotope. They have a killer selection of intuitively designed audio plugins and suites to help you with all your audio production needs, like voice, video, podcast, or full production recording sessions, and tons more. Check out the audio repair tool RX11, the mixer plugin Neutron 5, or the powerful Ozone 11 mastering suite. Go to iZotope.com and use the code FRET10 at checkout to save 10%. That's iZotope.com and use the code FRET10 at checkout to save 10%. This episode is presented by DistroKid. DistroKid is the easiest way for musicians to get their music into all the platforms like Amazon, Apple, Tidal, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, and more. You also get unlimited uploads, and artists keep 100% of their earnings. The DistroKid app is super easy to use, so check it out. Just go to distrokid.com/VIP/Talk Guitars to get 30% off. Good evening. Hey everybody, it's Chris and Rick Talk Guitars, and we're kind of revisiting a topic we did a while ago called Pet Peeves. And so every now and then we love to kind of commiserate and complain about things that kind of peeve us or piss us off a little bit. When you were thinking about this, or when you broached the subject with me, I thought of something, and it's kind of broad, but maybe we can get into it. So Chris and I have worked at music stores before in our lives, and one thing that is recurring that I've seen is people, customers who either buy a guitar or an amp or something like that, and then they come back and say, hey, these things are wrong with the guitar. And sometimes they're right, but more often than not, it's kind of this Dunning-Kruger thing where they think they know more. For instance, let me backtrack. So in music stores, normally, the good ones, they have really good techs that kind of vet instruments they get into the shop, right? Used instruments, for instance, is what I'm talking about mainly, vintage or used instruments. And they vet these things, and they know what they're looking for, right? If it's a headstock break or something like that, whatever is going on with the guitar. And so what they do is they vet it and say, these are the things, it's either 100% stock, nothing's happened to this thing, or yeah, it's had a headstock break, blah, 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 and there are telltale signs that you can, sometimes it's more difficult than not, or a refin, right? For instance, sometimes some of these things are very difficult, but the places we've worked, there are techs that are really savvy and experienced, and, 90% of the time know what they're doing and know what talking about. Anyway, so, somebody will buy a guitar and then they'll take pictures of it and send it back to you and go, hey man, this had a headstock break and see these scratches by the nut and all this stuff. And it's like, well, no, because this piece of gear was vetted pretty extensively before we put it on the floor, and that's not the case. And so, and it's not just guitars, but amps. You could have the same thing, right? Hey man, these tubes aren't the stock tubes or whatever it is. But that's one of my pet peeves is like, where we know, for instance, no, there's no headstock break on this guitar, or no, we know definitively that it was not refinned. This is the thing. And so for me, it's kind of and especially now when people are buying stuff online, like people will pay, they'll buy a vintage piece of gear online, right? Say we're in Seattle and they're in California or New York, and then they'll get the guitar because they haven't actually seen it physically. I mean, you can only do so much with pictures and descriptions, but anyway. So that was one of mine that I thought of, is the kind of Dunning-Kruger effect in in the gear sphere with people.
It's probably a bit of buyer's remorse too. That shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I got to find something wrong with it. I paid a lot for this and blah, blah. It's not what I thought it was, not what I read. It was supposed to be online.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember that was always annoying. Just working with people was, I wasn't cut out. I really wasn't cut out for working in the service industry myself.
Me either.
I got a lot of years out of it where I was, because I was so excited about being around guitars. But after a while, I had a lot of trouble being nice to people who didn't deserve it. But I had no problem being nice to people who did. And
of course. Cool. Yeah.
I love that aspect of it. I love matching cool gear to cool people. And that was like the best thing in the world about it. And I have a great respect in other people that have the personality to do that and just not get pissed off and all this shit. So, that's a great respect for people that can do that, because I certainly couldn't. I got, after I got out of the music store, I didn't even go visit a store for strings ever for like 10 years.
Damn.
I just so burnt out. But I totally get that. And that's something that, one of my pet peeves has always been like people who just like these know-it-alls that don't know shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're like, I don't know, it's frustrating. There's probably a better way for me to describe that, but it's those people like, or they have somebody, right? They take the guy, I was talking to my friend, he's been a luthier for 40 years, and all this stuff. And he says no. And it's like, well, the people here that, do this for a living say yes. So, it's got to be buyer's remorse sometimes, or sometimes you might miss something. So what, you fucking own it. But it's people being unhappy with shit that they really, you should be psyched. This is a fucking amazing guitar. You should be psyched about it, not going home looking for something to bitch about, and probably online, like, talking shit or Yelp or something like that. So that's super annoying. That's peevy. That peeved the fuck out of me. The whole reason I was thinking about this revisiting pet peeves is because I thought about that. I'm like, we did this way back in 2019.
Damn.
I wonder if I've grown as a human and I'm more tolerant. And so I went back and listened to that. And it's like, absolutely not. All that shit still bothers me. And I have some new stuff. So just part of people. That's our deal. Everybody, humans are complex.
I know.
So we tend to surround ourselves with people who we can dig their weirdness and shit like that. Yeah. So I'll start with mine.
Yeah.
One of mine, which is it's a small one and it's very new. It's not really new. It's something that's always existed, but I just thought of it recently because it just came up. Uh-huh. And I have to preface this with people who are really smart, who I love and respect. They do this. So it's not something, it's just something that I don't like. Uh-huh. And, it makes me annoyed that, that I have to deal with this thing or whatever. And it's a really small thing. I hate when guitars have straps on them 24/7. It's like I got my guitar, I put a strap on it, and it stays on that guitar like a fucking toaster or something. You pick it up, so you got to deal with the strap, or you put it in the case, and I got to do some sort of weaving exercise or rolling exercise to get it in there. It's like I love a guitar to pick up a guitar and just play the guitar, put the guitar down. Not this. And when I want to play standing up, I put a strap on it, and it's like not that I don't get that. I totally get that, especially when you have strap locks that you have to deal with, which just about everybody does. It's kind of a pain in the ass to take them off and stuff, which will bring me to another pet peeve in a moment. But so I get that. But I use strap locks. I use the rubber washers, which I think are the best ones in the world. And when I put the guitar on, I pull the strap over my shoulder, put the washer on, boom, boom. I'm ready to go. Whenever I pick up my guitar, it doesn't have a strap connected to it because it's not, it's not a toaster. It's not a lamp. It's a guitar. It's just, whatever. And that's like a stupid little pet peeve, but it's something that really, just people, like I said, people are weird. And that's my weird thing. And another one along that lines,
go ahead.
that, sorry to interrupt.
No, go.
While I'm on fire here with this anger, it's really funny because one of my pet peeves that comes up is music stands. And it's not that I don't like music stands or I don't think they're useful or whatever, but it's this thing where they tend to show up sometimes. I don't mind them at a rehearsal space. That's what they're supposed to be. But sometimes you'll do these shows where there's like multiple bands, say they're doing like a cover night where everybody does some blah, blah songs or whatever. And you show up there and you're putting your gear up there and there's 1,000 fucking music stands up there. And it's like, you know what? If you guys want, we can push this out to a date when you learn the songs and you know the songs and we can come back and then we can have room on the stage. It's like,
there you go.
To me, it just seems like something that you use until you have the song. And if you're playing and people are coming up to watch you play, you should have the song. You know what I mean? It's like, unless you're chart reading, your sight reading, your horn section or something, there's this saying that I have that when you're learning a song, the first thing you do is you play the chords until you know the song. And then you play the song. You know what I mean? And when you go to play before people, you should be playing the song and not
Commit
the
it to
chords.
memory, man.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know, but it's my pet peeve,
Oh
and,
my God.
and it's
That's
funny
funny.
because a friend of mine who like is really kind of she's like, oh, I'm going to use a stand, but I'm not going to use it. I'm like, I really don't care. You know what I mean? Kind of thinks because I'm kind of vocal about my pet peeves. So she's
Yeah.
like, no, I'm only using this for the. I'm like, I don't get. You can use it whenever you want. I mean, it's just one of those annoying things, like people who don't put the toilet seat down or whatever. It's just
Oh my gosh.
my thing. But that was
That's
another
funny.
silly pet peeve of mine.
Well, the strap thing it kind of made me think about that too, because it is a pet peeve of mine too, actually, and especially if you're going to take it out to work on it or to do something, and you've got the strap, and it could be an issue too, where it's like, it knocks something over if you're putting on a bench. You know what I mean? It's like it is kind of this cumbersome
Awkward.
thing unless you're using it in a live situation. Yeah. And I'm glad you said that, because it's kind of one of mine as well. Because, and same with me, the strap locks. I used to be a strap lock guy, but the thing I hated about them is they're kind of clunky and cumbersome. And the rubber washers to me are far head and shoulders above, the fucking things that you have to screw onto your guitar and all that other shit. So.
Yeah, those were ridiculous. It's like this German company Scheller, we engineered 1,000 points of failure into these things.
Exactly.
So you can, if there's just something that should be really simple, is really complicated, it has a bunch of moving parts. And the thing that's funny about that is talk about in a music store. When I was in a music store, there was a drawer in the back that had a bunch of broken strap like, because people would break them.
Yep.
They would want new ones, so we'd put the new ones on and throw the other ones in the broken ones in the drawer. And people would come in and I'd see they've got like one end of this is broken. I'm like, I have another part to that if you want to just get the part. He's like, oh, you do? And he's really excited about it. And I'm kind of questioning, why are you so excited that this thing broke and I have a part for it? Something you're going to trust with your guitar. Is like, these things do fucking break, I mean, yep. They break quite often. So yeah, I mean, and I know the ones you're talking about that stick out like 3 inches from the guitar.
Yeah,
I've
had a bunch of different kinds. Yeah,
it's ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, nobody wants to drop their guitar, but
the rubber washers do it perfectly. I mean,
you got to be careful with those. I bought some online and they looked just like but they were too soft and they would pop off. And there's nothing worse than that, because I think the Shalers do this a little bit too. It's like giving you a false sense of security with something like that is really bad.
Word to the wise.
Oh, I got strap locks. Let's whirl this around my head. And boom, there it goes. But I don't. Never have I been one to like do jumping jacks or anything on stage with a guitar.
Neither have I. Yeah.
If I was going to do something like that, I'd separate that from playing guitar. It's
exactly.
Like, so yeah, I get that one.
One of my, now that we're talking about this, the thing that I used to, and it's a punk rock thing mostly, that I never dug, or is the tape, either duct tape or gaffer tape, just slathering tape on your guitar to make sure your strap stays on your guitar. And I think mostly I saw it with punk rockers or things like that. So it might have been a function, but also kind of a statement, right? Like, fuck this, I'm punk rock. I'm not going to use washers or strap locks. I'm just going to use fucking gaffer tape or duct tape.
Yeah. Well, I know people that just screwed something, put a washer and a screw on there and screwed the strap on when they got the guitar. And
same here.
I mean, that works. But again, you got to deal with that whole fucking thing.
The strap's always on.
It's like, I want to sit on the couch, watch TV and play guitar. The strap is falling all over and it's just a pain in the ass.
Oh my God.
Yeah. No, the duct tape. Yeah. That's, a lot of effort to prove that you don't care.
Exactly.
Let me show you how much I don't care.
If you don't care, just let it
do this. And look at all these stickers.
Let the guitars fall where they may.
Placed. But no, I'm fucking do what you want. It's your guitar. That is actually, when I was thinking about these pet peeves, that's one thing that's definitely changed with me is I still have these pet peeves, but the level of me not giving a shit so much, it's just like, it's annoying, but not to the point. For example, if I was on like a web page for music or something like that, and somebody was talking about a vintage guitar or some amp or something like that, and I saw somebody giving information I knew to be incorrect, factually incorrect, it wouldn't be my first interest. Is like, I have to tell somebody, I know that this is wrong. Right. I must let everybody know that I know the real answer. Now it's like, I don't give a shit. You guys have figured out whatever, but, which that was another one of my pet peeves. And I actually wrote this one down because I had so many. I love it. But it's like people who, it's really a close call now. It's like people going onto a Facebook gear page and asking for help with a problem And it's like, who's the bigger asshole? Is it the people that have no idea what they're talking about, that giving like advice? Or is the people that don't know by now that you don't go on to a Facebook page and ask for fucking advice? It's because, and I feel bad. And I have to believe that some of these people are just young. Maybe it's their first time and that's how they're looking for help or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's so frustrating to watch that. And how many people that actually have absolutely no idea what the fuck they're talking about, but feel so compelled that their opinion is something that they really need to get in there with everybody else's. So, I can tell them. Or the people that are just completely clueless. And they'll always do this thing where it's like, I've been a luthier for 45 years, so I know this. It's like,
right.
If you're saying that, you're not either not a luthier or you're a really shitty one, because that's actually not only bad information. That's information that will ruin that guitar or something.
Oh, that's
and you'll
so
have,
funny.
Or the people that come on to something like the innocent question, like, oh, I just got this Telecaster. What's a good boost pedal?
Right.
And
right.
asking a subjective question, I just want to make like a law that when people do that, they're required by law to go out and purchase everything that gets mentioned in that thread. You have to burn everyone, and even, I think, and to get around that, it would be like, well, maybe if you gave more information. I just got a new Telecaster. I like rock and roll music. I want a boost pedal that's fairly clean.
Yeah,
I like this is the that'll be helpful. But at the same time, someone would come in there and they'd say all those things. I want a semi-clean boost that doesn't really change the signal and all this stuff. And someone would come out and say, get a big muff, or something that's just like complete, because they have one and they like it.
Yeah.
I used to enjoy trying to help people on there with, things that I have experience with and know things.
Yeah.
So, and I just stopped because people are just so shitty a lot of the time. It's not everybody, but enough to make me not want to participate in that shit anymore.
Well, I'm the same way when I see those naive, and they're totally general and totally vague. Like, hey guys, I bought a new telly. What strings should I put on it? Yeah. It's like, well, fuck, dude.
All of them.
Like you're saying, it's like, okay, like, yeah. And so, I mean, a lot of times I think, is that a real post? Like, is that somebody? And I think it is. I think it's just a naive, not necessarily a kid, but just a naive person that doesn't know anything about this. But you're right. It's like, that is the most vague question you could ask at all. Like, it's like, and some people, try to kind of zero in on it. Like, well, do you play country or do you like heavy strings? You know what I mean? They try to zero in on it for the guy or the gal. But just that initial, it's like, I don't think people think about it at all. They just go, oh, I got this guitar, I'm going to take a picture of it. Or like, hey, there's this, I just bought this brand new guitar and it looks like there's a slight crack in the pocket. Oh, yeah. It's like, what, should I worry about this? It's like, yes, you should go
That's
to
what we need to start doing.
You should take it to the hospital right now.
Yeah. I don't know where you bought that, but you should probably take it back, because that's probably going to burn your house down.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to deal with that immediately. But at the same time, you get something you love and it's new and you're like,
I know
everybody hates the first, but you're right. I mean, it's like, I don't remember that. I mean, I was so psyched to get a guitar that, it's like, if it fell down the stairs, I'd be like, oh, well, I'll pick it up, make sure it's still what plays, whatever.
Yeah.
But on the other side of that, there's these people that are just so annoying. Like, it's just a fucking tool, man. Look at that. There's in the middle with all of this shit. It's somewhere in them. It's always somewhere.
Exactly.
Neither there nor way over there or way over there. It's somewhere in the middle.
But the people that, I think it's funny, like I think you and I talked about it before. The people that do annoy me are the ones who spend so much time like analyzing the gear or worrying about it, that it seems like, do you play the thing at all? Have you strummed the guitar at all? Or are you just, you've taken 20 pictures of every part of this guitar and shown us what you think might be wrong with it? Like, have you played it at all yet?
Yeah. And we probably talked about some of this stuff before. Yeah. We're approaching 100 episodes or something, but, or that whole thing, like pointing out like on a guitar that's like a Martin or something that's handmade. It's like, this dot is a little bit off right here. And it's like
by a millimeter.
It's like a fucking handmade, So some things, there's things that are way off. That's not good. But I mean, I wouldn't be complaining about a handmade guitar that's like a little bit of snowflakey in certain ways, or like grain. I don't like this grain. Is this raw? It's like, it's fucking organic wood. I mean, be psyched that it's not plastic, But yeah, people are, like I said, people are complicated. So you choose the ones that you can get along with their weirdness and you surround yourself with them.
Exactly.
And then you just talk shit about the other ones like we're doing now.
Yeah, exactly. So another customer slash people thing that annoys the fuck out of me are the people that will either email or call and ask a shit ton of questions about a piece of gear. And like 9 times out of 10, I don't know, like an amp, like I want, this is kind of, I'll keep it kind of vague, but kind of specific. Like there was this amp in the shop and it's this, Dumble clone made by this dude, right? There's a whole, and that's another thing. There are these little camps, right? That know, oh, do you know John Sylvester, man? He builds these. Yeah, this is like, he signs them and all. And, this guy asked all these questions and then he kept, and then ultimately, like near the end, he just corrected me and was never interested in buying the amp, but just wanted to school me on
Right.
the amp, right? Oh, what
Let
circuit
you know
is
what he
what
knows,
circuit
yeah.
is it? Yeah, exactly. It's like, fuck you, dude. It's like you had me jump through these hoops just to try to one up me, that I don't know anything about this fucking amp. It's like, no, I don't. Who gives a fuck about this Dumble clone that some guy in Pennsylvania makes that 20 guys love? It's like,
Look at me. I can pay attention.
exactly.
I'm awesome. I can
And
pay
so-
attention. I know the stuff that you don't.
And I'm like you. It's like I have very little patience for this shit. And it's like, dude, go fuck yourself. It's like,
Yeah, that whole thing. That's a dude thing too. That's definitely
it
a dude
is.
thing.
It's a time
Women,
vampires.
girls never do that shit. You know
No,
what I mean? It's like,
because they're fucking nice people.
or they're smart.
And I think a lot of these dudes are just lonely, or there's the lonely guy that will not get off the phone. So he wants to tell you his life story, and it's like, dude. Oh yeah, and then I had one. Oh, I had one of those too, man. And it made me tell you about that one. It's like, wait, can I put you on hold? It's like, oh fuck, here we go.
Yeah, it's the loneliness, and it's just like it's anything that has a lot of geekiness and
Yes.
passion around it. So I get that. I had one. I think that was related to that. What was it? Oh, and this is kind of like comes back negatively on me because I have this pet peeve. Is like I have a tendency to not give a shit at all about stuff that's really trendy. What's that Nobles Overdrive that everybody has to have because the Nashville cats do it? It's like,
right.
I so don't care about that thing. And I would feel like an idiot for having it on my board, even though it's probably an awesome pedal. I don't know what it is because I'm kind of can be shooting myself in the foot. I remember we used to sell that. And I thought the tremolo pedal from that series was much better. They had a tremolo pedal. So I played it and I didn't spend much time on it. I'm sure it's great. But at the same time, it's like, people who think they need to get this thing because everybody that uses it, they like the way they sound and it's going to make them sound like that. And it's not. Yeah. But that when I'm saying that actual pet peeve is something that kind of even reflects negative on me because it's like the Dumble thing. Like everybody gets all excited about the Dumble. Like, I so don't give a shit about that. I so don't give a shit about the Klon. I don't give a, it's like, I kind of like finding my own way through all this shit, like just kind of making, not like I'm being an individual over here. Look at me crafting this awesome sound. It's just like, I don't really, I think it's maybe that I want to separate my art from that kind of like collectability kind of, I don't know what it is.
Cool. That's cool.
What do you call that? Like the fan, I don't know what you'd call it. Just that whole element of like trendy.
Trendy. Yeah, I think it's trendy or bandwagon-y stuff where, because like you say, exactly, all of a sudden that stuff will just peak and like everybody has to have that, like the Klon was like that. And it kind of still is in some degree. These little clusters will form around this gear, and it's like, oh shit, I got to get this piece of gear. Or Dumbles. Yeah. Well, people can't afford a Dumble. Only people with a lot of dough can afford a Dumble. But yeah, I see that. And
along with that, there's like that people that like this. This speaks to all the stuff we were just talking about. That key in on some part of a piece of storied gear that really doesn't have as much effect as they think they do, and to the point they obsess over it. Like an example would be the JRC 4558 chip that's in was in the Tube Screamers. It's like
the J45 chip,
exactly. Which really, in the context, it doesn't mean shit. You know what I mean? But that's the thing that they talk about. That chip sounds so good. It's like it doesn't have a sound. In that circuit, it doesn't have a sound. But I will say this reminds me of something that I am not opposed to changing my mind on any of this shit. Yeah. And one of the things it taught me, and I think I even wrote like a blog post about my Tube Screamers a while ago. And one thing I found out fairly recently, I still believe that I could take any tube screamer made and I could go out and play a show and I'd be happy as a clam, or record with,
Cool.
I'd be happy as a clam. But I did have the opportunity to put three in a row. I had a TS10 and I had a 90s TS9 and a recent TS9, both of the reissues. And I think the TS10 had that chip that everybody talks about, the JRC 4558 or whatever the fuck it was. And so did the reissue one. And this other one had a different one. And they all sounded different. I mean, to a point where you could all tell they were tube screamers. Yeah. They all sounded good. I could make any of them work, but it was really kind of fascinating. And I was kind of shocked at how different they were in just one aspect. It was like the character of the mid-range that they have. Yep. I mean, it's famously a mid-rangey pedal or whatever, but it was really weird. And they were such different in such a way that I couldn't make them sound like, and I always thought that I could turn the controls and make one sound like the other. I could not do that. And I tried really hard. And it was interesting because the TS10 had this mid-range thing that was really kind of interesting. That was like just the character, the woody character of the mid-range. And that's just such a stupid thing to say, that airy woody sound. But it's the way I would explain it. And these were different in such a way that if you were like in a shop and someone said, bring me some tube screamers, I'm looking for a tube screamer, and they put them in front of you, there would be one in there that you say, this is the one I want. It's definitely better than the other ones in that mid-range. So to the point of where you're like, ooh, that sounds really good. Yeah. And the second one was the older reissue. That was close, but it sounded a little bit rounder. And the new one sounded great, but it was just a little bit clearer. It didn't have like that woodiness to it. And it sounds fine. It's actually on my John Prine board and I'll play it. I don't have a problem with it, but that blew my mind sort of in the fact that, they do sound different enough to where, but at the same time, I've always believed that you could get 6 tube screamers or 6 anything, put them down and one would sound magical. And the reason is, and goes for everything out there that's a piece of gear, it's the sum of the parts. There's something that's going on that just, the chips don't matter in those pedals. They don't. I mean, I've had, whatever, but there's something else. There's something about all the other parts that just work out to a certain way that they have this characteristic. And like I said, purely subjective, those all sounded good, but anybody who likes that old guitar tone, like that classic, like almost cardboardy mid-woody thing, two of them had a little bit better than the other one. And you would definitely to the point where you say, oh, I'm taking that one. And I'm actually glad that I have all 3 of those because they sound good. But I pulled the TS10 was on my Prime board, but that pedal's getting really expensive. So I had to take it off, but that's the best sounding one, and kind of shocked because I usually like the 9s better. But yeah, but that's a whole-winded way of saying that, I have these pet peeves and I'll say things sometimes like, oh, I think this is stupid, this blah, blah, blah. But if I'm proven to be wrong, I will change my tune. Yeah. And I still don't believe that those chips had anything to do with the difference of the sound. Like I said, it was something else, but yeah. And that's another, that is part of the same pet peeve is people will speak and I do this too, and I know you do this too, will speak to something like, and they'll say something like, these fucking P90s sound great in this 59, Junior. And it's like, do they really? Is it the P90s that have the sound, or is it the guitar? You know what I mean? Put those P90s in another, Junior and see if it sounds as good as that. It won't. It's going to sound like the guitar sounds like the guitar. Yeah. That's the thing that I've lately is like, it's not even a pet peeve. It's just a thought that I just constantly have. I've just learned that, a guitar sounds like a guitar, and pickups will do different things to it and bring out its sounds a little bit differently. But yeah, I mean, or, that's the same thing saying this pickup sounds so great in this guitar. It's like saying this 4558 chip sounds so great in this thing. I don't know. Again, my pet peeve. Call me
well, it's funny because I had on the tube screamer thing. Yeah, I bought a reissue 808 or whatever the 8.
The 808, the square button.
Yeah. And then I had just have later model 9s that I bought. And the 8 sounded markedly different than, but it was a mid-rangey thing. Yeah, it was the mid-rangey thing. And it didn't appeal to me as much as just I like the new 9s. They sound great. They sound, they get enough mid-rangey sound to me. And I like the way they break up. And I like the thresholds of, gain and stuff. However they're structured and stuff. I think they're good pedals. And I've been messing with other distortion pedals or other gain pedals too. And I always think, because for the longest time, I never really had a tube screamer. But I always knew that they were kind of the thing. Stevie Ray, all these people use tube screamers, most of the guitar players. But once I came to that camp, it's like, oh yeah, I see why people dig this pedal because it's got something, like you're saying, like they can all sound different. They're varying degrees of the thing it does essentially.
Yeah, they all do the same thing, but some of them do it the way that they do it in certain areas are make them better or more appealing for certain things. That's another. You remind me of another pet peeve. Here's my pet peeve.
I love it
with overdrive. It's like I'm fucking videos that show somebody demonstrating an overdrive where everything's at 12 o'clock, and they're playing at bedroom level. It's like, what the fuck do I want to hear that for? I mean, what does that have to do with any purpose that I would ever use an overdrive, an overdrive for?
Right.
I mean, you have to watch videos to kind of get the idea. I watch videos all the time to see, but I'm never going to be able to tell if I really like that until I'm plugged into it. And I'm never going to run an overdrive like that in my at bedroom levels. And people of great note in the pedal industry will do that with the, put that 12 o'clock and like, look at these pedals. We're comparing these pedals. No, you're not. I mean, you're really not. We can hear like a little bit of like the shitty thing that you can make a overdrive do if you want to. And I don't know why you'd want to, but yeah. Again, my pet peeve, we're all different, but fuck, I hate that.
Well, what else you got?
I got so much shit. We have to do this every, I don't know, what was it, 6 years?
It's fun. It's fun.
We did this in 2019 and I was like, yeah, it was cathartic. And, and I just felt so, I mean, all this stuff we're talking about shit that's built up over 6 years now.
You gotta let it out, dude, or you're going to kill somebody.
Oh, this is something related to selling gear. Couple of pet peeves related to selling gear. Why did people suddenly forget what new old stock and mint mean? They have no idea. It's like someone's like new old stock. It's got something and it's like the paint's wearing off and it's like whatever. It's like, to them, new old stock means, this isn't very beat up at all. Or mint, the same thing. It's just like, this is what I need to say to sell this pedal. So I'm going to say it regardless of what it means. And the other one is like, I love this. And this is usually not by gear sales people. It's like people selling stuff that maybe they came across and they always worked last time I used it. That's just code for it's broken.
Exactly. Worked the last time I used it. Yeah, that's a classic.
Totally. It's like, okay, that's broken. What else you got? Yeah. Jesus. So you probably, I mean, let's think for a moment. There are so many that I've got in the guitar stop. So I'm trying to steer you back towards those.
Yeah. Well, lots. I've got another one that's related to people who, first of all, I understand, like if I'm buying something, I want to try to get a deal, but I'm not one of those hagglers. I don't haggle too much. And if I sell something, I want to try to get as much money as I can for it, right? Within reason, what it's worth. Well, the people I don't care for are the ones that have bought this piece of gear it's not a sought after piece of gear, but there's this, maybe there's this weird little glom of people who think this is a neat fucking guitar, but they bring it in and they say, yeah, man, they only made 100 of these and blah blah. It's like, yeah, okay, that's all great.
100 too many.
Look, it's got all the case candy. Yeah, exactly. And they want, they in their mind, it's worth all this money, and trying to, be tactful and say, well, here's what Blue Book is, and here's what. Oh, dude, that can't be, man. They only made 100, dude. It's like, okay, those are the people that can be very frustrating and very stubborn.
Right, because you can't be a dick. I mean, you don't want to be a dick.
But the bottom line is, it's like, dude, be realistic about this guitar. This isn't a 1965 Fender Stratocaster. It's some weird thing. Yeah, like it's a Fender Tele from the 80s or something. Some special edition, right? And it's like, God, it's got this big, huge, heavy bridge and all this stuff, and it's like, dude,
black and gold or something like that, really heavy.
Yes. And that's just one example. But there have been others too. Or to your mint part, like this, somebody had a reissue Strat that wasn't anything special, but they thought it was fucking cool, and they thought it was mint, but it wasn't mint. And it's like, dude, you don't know what mint is, because this is not mint. And so anyway, so kind of the unrealistic people that are kind of that you have a hard time convincing to bring them down to reality, right? Like, come
Right.
on, man. Like this is not, it's not worth what you think it is.
The haggling thing always got me. It's so weird because I get, that like haggling when you're buying a car or something. I guess that's part of the process. You're supposed to learn how to do that because
I hate it
it's
though.
so strategically marked up and everything else. That it's just this little war of wits you have to do to buy that, which is why I've never bought in the car. But other things aren't like that. A lot of people like in guitar stores or record shops or whatever, things are priced to help them stay in business and to pay their employees and all this other shit. So it's like, I just always operate on the fact that conveniently they put the price on things what I have to give them to get the item. And I just stick to that. And it's treated me really well. And I have done this. And I did this like with the last guitar I bought because it was the most I've ever played for a guitar. And I just said, is there any way we could do this where it's just completely this price, but no tax? I mean, just work it out. So it's just a nice round sum.
Exactly.
And it worked out that it was that way. And it was great. And that I felt comfortable. And I didn't feel like I was, being haggly or anything. It was just like something to like, just maybe make me just not sticker shock so much and freaked out. And I've absolutely loved the guitar. So it's, it was cool. But yeah, I mean, I just always assume that things just cost what they cost. I don't, go into fucking Safeway and really $4 for this? Are you fucking kidding?
Well, I was just going to say
I can get this for $3 down the street.
Exactly. Well, that's another thing. Are these drive-by guys that just go, "Yeah, I went to your site, man. You got a lot of cool stuff, but man, it's way overpriced. Have a nice day." It's like, thanks, dude. Why don't you go fuck yourself?
Hey, man, I'm just calling to say that's a really fucking ugly shirt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like I need you to tell me this ridiculous thing. Like you're saying, exactly. Oh man. But yeah, so just people being people, I think is just kind of like my thing.
The time when I bitch about prices is people who like are on Reverb that aren't actual stores or on eBay that aren't actual stores, and they have retail prices. Me and my wife Tracy, we used to do this all the time when we'd go garage sailing, yard sales and garage sales and shit like that. We'd be walking, we'd look at the prices, and we'd be like, retail. Like, these prices are retail. It's like, this is supposed to be like $2 to get rid of this shit. I'm cleaning out the attic, get rid of this. And it's like, this is retail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, we want to pay as little as we can to get this guitar. And when we sell it, we want to get as much as we can.
Exactly.
So the key where I win on this all the time is I never sell guitars because I don't ever have to take a loss. I mean, yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
Fuck.
I love it. I love it. Well, this was awesome. And we'll do it again because pet peeves are part of what fuels us as shouting at clouds kind of guys. But also I love the idea of the flip side of that is what do we love? Let's talk about that.
We might do that next time just to balance this thing.
I love it. Well, thanks for listening as always, people. We totally dig it. We're members of the Ruinous Media Network. We're on all the streaming services, Spotify, Apple, whatever other ones, Amazon, all that other stuff. Shoot us an email, man. Let us know you're out there. We love it. Chris, what do you got?
Thank you very much and good evening.
Good evening.
Tower.